Hi, John Anthony here, and today I'm going to talk about anchors. Creating anchors for your life. Wouldn't it be absolutely fantastic if on demand, when necessary, bam, you could be excited, full of confidence, ready to take on the world, whatever's necessary. Or when you wanted, you could be calm, easy, relaxed. Wouldn't that be great to have that emotion on demand? Well, of course you can do that. We all create anchors, subconsciously or maybe even consciously if you're aware of this. Give you an example. Whenever I smell coffee, freshly brewed coffee, it instantly takes me back to my grandma's house. She always seemed to have, maybe not, but it always in my mind she seemed to have freshly brewed coffee. And I was there probably 40 years ago. But whenever I smell freshly brewed coffee, I instantly think about my grandma's bungalow, and it's relaxing, it's calm. Whenever I smell freshly roasted coffee, I think of a shop in Princess Hay, Old Princess Hay in Exeter, called Cowardine's. They probably closed at least 30 years ago. But whenever I smell freshly roasted coffee, I think about that store, and I think about going to Saturday morning pictures and going uptown with my friends, going to the library, doing things like that. I instantly go back. There might be, whenever you hear certain music, it puts you in a certain state, or a certain smell, certain sound, certain feeling. Something would instantly put you in a certain state. And the majority of the time that is done unconscious, without thought. Wouldn't it be absolutely fantastic if you could do that on demand? Well, of course you can do. This goes back to Ivan Pavlov. You probably heard about Pavlov's dogs. He was a Russian physiologist around the mid-19th century, and he found that whenever he served dogs food, they would salivate, or thought of having food, they would salivate. He began to ring a bell, then he would serve them food, and then what he found is that all he needed to do in time was actually ring the bell, and the dogs would instantly salivate because they thought the food was coming. So even if food wasn't forthcoming, they would salivate at the thought of food. Conditioned response. So that's what we're thinking about creating, conditioned response. I come into the connection with this quite a long time ago. To be able to put you in this effective state necessary. You notice I click my fingers. That is because that's certain anchors that I've used to actually create a state. So how do you create the state necessary? We've all been excited, we've all been confident, we've all been the various states that we want for our life. So how do you create the effective state? Well, you've got to go into that wonderful playground of your mind, and then find places, find times that you've been, let's say we're going after confidence, supreme confidence where you could do no wrong. Everything was dead right and you were just on it. You were just riding that wave, you were just on it. So go back into that wonderful playground in your mind and think back to times when you were maybe just a little bit confident you were okay with something. And then think about another time when you were supremely confident and really go into it, really go into it. Once you're in there, once you're in that wonderful state of confidence, play with it. The mind can't comprehend if you say to yourself, multiply, multiply, multiply. It can't equate to multiply, it just will overcompensate. So you find this wonderful state of confidence. When you're supremely confident, we've all been confident in our time before, go into the state of being confident and really get into that time. And you've got to actually live it. You've got to feel it. You can watch people and you know when people are depressed. Hunched shoulders. And if you say to yourself then, yeah, I'm really happy. Yeah, everything's great. It ain't going to work. By the same token, if your shoulders back, stand erect, lift your chest, breathe in, you say, oh, I'm really depressed. I'm really, really depressed. Well, that isn't going to work, is it? It's got to be congruent. So the time you're after, so you go back in the state of being confident. And when you're confident, how are you feeling? The world was better, everything smelled better, seemed better, world was a wonderful place, a joy to be in. Go into that state and then play with it. See if you can multiply it, and then find another time when you were confident, and then another time. Layer it time and time and time again. Breathe into it, feel it, really, really live that moment. And once you're in that moment, you've got to fire off an anchor. And it's got to be something that you don't do all the time. Okay, that might be something you do all the time, but if I know that is a time when I put myself in that really confident state, supreme confidence, not cocky, but supreme confidence that I could do anything. Getting that feeling, I would multiply it, and then I would bam, bam, bam. I won't keep on doing it because I'd just blow up. But that would really, really stimulate the confidence. And that's something that I do. When I used to be on the phone or on sales, before I actually picked up that phone, I would fire that anchor. I'd fire that anchor and I would get really, really happy, confident. Pick up that phone and I was there. I was on it. Another one, when I wanted to feel that everything was possible. The world was a joyous place to live in. And everything that I wished I could just actually think about and happen. I'd put myself in that state and I would turn my ring. I would just turn it and turn it and turn it. Even now, I'm feeling that rise. And then, once I'm in that state, I would think about my goal, and it just seemed like a natural thing that it was going to actually happen. So we can all do that. We can all put ourselves in the wonderful state necessary. Let's say you want to be relaxed. There might be amazing things going on in your life. So many things going. The kids are screaming. The boss is giving you a hard time. Everything's going, and you just want a bit of respite. You're on holiday. Let's say you're on holiday. For me, get on holiday, on your vacation, and you're stretched out on the sunbed. You've got a nice drink beside you. The sun is beaming down. Everything's relaxed. Everything's cool. Wouldn't it be great if the world's going on, everything's happening, say your boss is giving you a hard time, the kids are screaming, you just want a bit of respite. Wouldn't it be wonderful if you could just have that moment when everything's wonderful, everything's relaxed? Well, you can do that. Wouldn't it be great to actually stop whatever this clutter, this chatter, whatever is going outside of you? Wouldn't it be just to actually go into that wonderful playground in your mind and actually just let all the negative feelings evaporate and then go on? So we can do that. We can all do that. A lot of the time that's subconscious, without even thought. We create anchors without even thinking. You might hear the theme tune of your favourite soap, and that would put you in a certain state. A certain bit of music, you haven't heard that music possibly for years. You hear that music and you feel great, or maybe you feel bad, whatever that music means to you. We have the power to control our state, and we have the power to choose the state that we want to affect, whatever necessary. So we're going after confidence. Go back to the time in your life when you were confident. Find that moment, live in that moment, feel it, let it all happen. Get in that moment and see through your eyes there. Hear the sounds that you're hearing, what you are feeling. Get in that moment, find yourself there, and once you're there in that confidence, pick another moment. Seeing if you could multiply it, seeing if you could multiply it and multiply it and multiply it. Create an anchor. Do something you don't normally do. You don't want to fire this anchor off when you're not ready. Think of something that you don't normally do. Grip your wrist between your thumb and forefinger or something. When you're in that state, fire it. Think of another time when you're supremely confident and you're ready to take on the world, and then fire it, and then fire it, and then fire it. And then every time you're ready to go into that state again, get your physiology right. Lift your shoulders back, chest up, breathe in and fire it and fire it and fire it. We have the power to do it, and it's repetition. Repetition is the mother of skill. So if you want something, you've got to repeat it over and over and over again. Fire it, fire it, fire it. All you're doing is taking control of something that we do the majority of the time subconsciously. Conditioned response, or creating anchors, we have the power to do that. Get in the state you require. Live in that moment. Get right in amongst it. Put yourself right in there. As I said before, the conscious mind cannot tell the difference between an actual experience, one that you're experiencing, or one that you have vividly imagined. So you can put yourself in any state in the past. Pick somebody that you think is supremely confident. We're going after confidence now. Pick somebody you feel is supremely confident. How do they act? What do they think? How do they walk? What do they look like? What is that? Think about that moment and then fire it and then fire it and then fire it. Multiply it and multiply it and multiply it. And then every time, every single time you fire it, you're creating an anchor. And the more you do it, you're creating neural pathways in your mind. The more you do it, the firmer those pathways will become. And then it will be second nature. It will be second nature. Many people go bam, bam, bam. It doesn't matter if you look stupid. Who cares what people think about what you're doing? It matters what goes inside there. It matters what happens in that wonderful playground in your mind. You have control, total control of your feelings and your emotions and of course your thoughts. Find a state that you want. Play with it in that wonderful playground in your mind. And then do something that will react, that you can actually find that moment and then fire it and then fire it or fire it. Whatever it is, whatever you do that actually tunes, that kicks that anchor off, find that moment. And then once you're on that cusp where you really can't think you can take any more, fire it, fire it, fire it. And then go after it again, go after it again. Build it up, build it up, build it up. You're creating neural pathways in your mind. You're taking control of the conditioned response that we all react to. Have you ever been, you hear somebody's phone ringing. It might have a totally different ringtone to your phone. And what happens? I know, if I hear someone's phone ringing, or I even see them playing with their phone, I tap my pocket. I know it's not my phone, but I find myself tapping my pocket. Somehow I've created a conditioned response that wasn't of my choosing. Create a conditioned response, an anchor that you want for your life, a certain state, whether that's confidence, whether that's relaxation. Find the state you want, play with it in your mind, live in that moment, fire your anchor, create these neural pathways in your mind, and you'll find that you can have emotions on demand. Try it. I know you're going to like it. I'd love to know what you think about this. My name's John Anthony, and thank you so much for your time. Thank you.